Hello and welcome to the first edition of Chromebook News, the place to find out everything you need to know about the Chromebook and Chrome OS. First of all, with some good news, I've been using the Chromebook since 2011 and I was really into it from the very beginning because I knew I wanted something different to what Microsoft offered. Now, that wasn't the same for everyone. Even a lot of the tech review companies at the time were not really on board with a Chromebook. They just couldn't really get to grips with the idea of using a computer without an internet connection. And I sort of understand that to a certain extent because people were still in this idea that you had to install programs locally. Luckily, obviously, Google had the forward-thinking vision, and their vision is correct. Most people are now moving to the cloud. Even if you use Microsoft computers, people tend to be using more cloud software than they ever have done before. Now, the good news is this looks like it's been also seen in sales as well, because in Q4 of 2020, sales grew by 287% in the last quarter of 2020. 287%, that's a massive growth. Now that's 11.2 million Chromebooks in total, which is really big. The big lion's share who took that was to HP with 3.5 million units. And that was a jump for them compared to the Q4 in 2019 of 235%. So just HP alone have seen a jump in sales in the last quarter compared to 19 to 20 of 235%, which is really good. And this comes on to the next company who's been doing really well from this, which is Lenovo. Now, Lenovo are quite new to the Chromebook. They've only been doing Chromebooks for the last few years, and all I can say to that is thank God they have, because they've been giving us some really good products. They've really gave us some great Chromebooks to work with, so I'm really glad they've come on board, and it shows in their sales growth as well. They actually come in second place in Q4 of 2020 at 2.8 million units. Now, 2.8 million units compared to 3.5 million units, but when you consider that for them, that's an actual jump of 1,766%. That's a crazy jump in their sales from Q4 2019 to Q4 2020. So that's a massive jump in sales, Lenovo, which is great news, and hopefully that means they continue to provide us with some great Lenovo products going forward. Chromebooks, Chrome OS tablets, which I think they will be doing after their last Chrome OS tablet was a real success, so I'm sure we will see that from them. Obviously, the growth, you can also see that it's going to be slightly linked to the fact that we've had the coronavirus. So more people are working at home now, and a lot of people are studying at home now. And luckily, the education sector in the USA, and now also massively in the UK, are now using Chromebooks. So that is going to have, that's going to be part of that huge increase. That being said though, it's still a huge increase of 287%. Bearing in mind, Apple also saw an increase of the iPad in 2020 Q4, but that was only an increase of 30%. So you can see the difference in the increase in Chromebooks compared to products by other manufacturers. So that's really good news for the Chromebook going forward. Some other good news about the education sector is that Acer is also releasing they have released two new Chromebooks to the education sector. This shows that growth in the education sector is getting manufacturers interested in creating more products, which is really good, because the good thing about the education sector is that because as young adults or even children, you do take on the technology that you use at the time, and if you're now using Chromebooks at school, you're going to see how good they are. It's most likely that you're going to continue to use them throughout your life. So it's really good news for the Chromebook, and it's also really good news for the education sector as well, that they've got extra Chromebooks they can now choose from. The two Chromebooks is the Acer Chromebook 511 and the Acer Chromebook 311. So two different models depending on what they're looking for in the education sector. So that's some really good news, and it's good to see that Acer's still right behind the education sector when it comes to Chromebooks. Now, the next news story is about Chrome OS tablets. I've always been really passionate about Chrome OS tablets because I love the Chromebook, and I do like Chrome hybrids. However, I'm not a massive fan of Chromebook hybrids. Now, I'm not saying that anyone who's got a Chromebook hybrid, it's not a good device. They are. I've had a few, and I've still got one. However, I've always had an issue with the idea of using it when you split it over as a tablet with the keyboard on the back. It just seems a bit strange for me. I've never been able to get around that. And the dimensions, it's still quite strange. So I've never really used them as a tablet. But don't get me wrong, the fact that you get hybrids and you've got that functionality is great. However, I think Chrome OS tablets offer a lot more versatility. So I was really upset when Google stopped doing the Pixel Slate. I've got a Pixel Slate, fantastic, excellent, amazing display. But that's sort of after that, when they said they would stop making that model and they was no longer bringing out any further Pixel Slates, I was really upset about that. The great news was Lenovo brought out the IdeaPad Duet, and what a great decision that was from them, because that sold really well both in the USA and in the UK. It sold really well, nowhere near the same specs as the Pixel Slate, but it has sold really well. Now, since then, we've not really heard much news about any other not Pixel Slates, Chrome OS Slates, sorry, or tablets. But the good news is that there is now going to be a new Slate launched Chrome OS tablet by Asus, and that's the Asus Chromebook Flip CM3000. Now, I found this news on Chrome Unboxed, and obviously there will be a link below to that article so you can find out more. But it's great news to see that we're going to start seeing more Chrome OS tablets, because if you love hybrid Chromebooks, fantastic, but it's really good that there is that, you've got that choice now. I think there's benefits to both, if I'm being honest with you. Sometimes it can be a bit fiddly with some of the keyboards on some of the tablets, but I just don't know, it depends. But personally speaking, I think it's great news, and the more Chrome OS tablets that are launched, the better they'll get in how you connect the keyboard with the display and how it all interacts in that way, because that needs to be really good for it to be a true 2-in-1 Chromebook. So that's excellent news. Specs for the new Asus Chromebook Flip CM3000. It comes with a MediaTek MT8183 processor, 4GB of RAM. Not a huge amount of RAM, but I think that's all you really do need. I know a lot of people say, no, you definitely need 8GB of RAM in 2021. I don't think that's still the case. It's only the case, I personally believe, if you're going to be using Linux apps. As far as Chrome OS, the operating system, that's fine. Android apps, most Android apps should be perfectly fine with 4GB of RAM. I've got a 4GB of Chromebook, and I've never had a problem with any performance using Android apps or anything. I've even used Linux as well, so it's absolutely fine still. 4GB of RAM. So it comes with 4GB of RAM, comes with 128GB of storage. That's quite good. That's good for storage when you consider 64GB is still the standard really. So yeah, 128GB of storage is really good to see. It comes with a really bright display of 320 nits. It's got a 1080p front-facing camera, 2 megapixels, and an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera. As I said, you can find out more on Chrome Unboxed, and there is a link to the article below. Anyone looking for a Chromebook that performs, there's a new enterprise Chromebook being launched by Lenovo. About Chromebooks.com, they've had a look at the actual product, and I'll put a link in below so you can have a look at the article. It's the Lenovo ThinkPad C13 Yoga Chromebook. Now, the first thing I thought was I didn't like the look. For me, it was the old school laptops that I used to get back in the 90s. And for me, personally speaking, that's not the look of the type of laptop I like. It's even got one of the red little track pads in the middle of the keyboard so you can move the mouse around, and I just think they're quite crazy. However, I do see why they're doing it. I think they're trying to appeal to people who like that style of Chromebook. So if you don't mind how that looks, then this might be a Chromebook that might be ideal for you. Bearing in mind though, it is mainly more for the enterprise sector. It's a 2-in-1 Chromebook, which I was quite shocked at first, which means you can turn it around and turn it into a tablet, because it doesn't look like it, because it looks like such a typical Chromebook. It's got a 2.1 gigahertz AMD Ryzen 5 Pro processor, and it comes with 8GB of RAM, which is a huge amount of RAM, which is really good to see. And it also comes with 128GB of storage, and it looks like it's proper storage rather than eMMC storage. It's proper decent storage, which is I guess you would need in the enterprise sector. But saying that, it'd be good to have better storage in all Chromebooks, but then you got to consider if you use true SSD storage, then that would ramp up the price of the Chromebook. It comes with a 13.3-inch IPS panel with a full HD resolution of 1920 by 1080p. And if you want to find out more, have a look at the article from About Chromebooks in the link below. If you live in the USA, I'm sure you would have heard of the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook that was released a couple of years ago. Now, at the time, it looked like a great Chromebook, and it is a great Chromebook, but there was a few issues around the battery life, and that was mainly because of the display. The display was so good that it used up a lot of battery life. So after that, would you expect Samsung to bring out a new Chromebook like that, or would they go back to the Chromebooks they was releasing before that? Well, this is Samsung, so it was unlikely that was going to be the case. And it appears, looking at Chrome Unboxed, they're now releasing the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook 2. It looks like they've learned from their mistakes with the Chromebook that they brought out last, which, although it was great, because of that display was just too much, the battery life was a problem. So on the Galaxy 2 Chromebook that will be coming out, it's going back to a full HD 1080p display. So that's obviously going to be dealing with any battery concerns. I'm sure this is a Samsung product, you're still going to be getting a fantastic display. In a sense, it looks like Samsung has done what Google has done with the Pixelbooks, because the Pixelbooks was always Chromebooks that was pushing things forward, and with the Pixelbook Go, you could argue that Google actually set back a little, but that didn't mean they didn't bring out a great Chromebook. The Pixelbook Go is an excellent Chromebook, and this is sort of what Samsung has done with the Samsung Galaxy 2. They've gone back to basics a bit, so they've still provided you everything that was great, but they've cut back down on the things that was creating problems with the battery. If you want to find out more, you can do. I'll put a link in the video below to Chrome Unboxed so you can find out more about the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook 2. Okay, so that's it for the first edition of Chromebook News. If you liked, please like below and subscribe to the channel for future videos, and thanks for watching.